likes to buy me nice things, including a cell phone that he bought me this summer that I didn't really like. And it's lost here today. So all my notes are in that cell phone. So if you happen to see a black cell phone sitting around, there are probably some pictures of me and Duane and Isaac and our dogs. I don't know where it is, but it's here somewhere. Okay? So I've lost many wonderful things that Duane has bought me. Many. I know. We'll call it. It's going to show up. So anyway, just wanted to put that out there. You know, somewhere there's a phone out there. It's probably mine. So Isaac and I kind of got to the we love Duane, Duane loves us party a little later than so many of you. But we've been really fortunate to be at the center of his love for the last 4.5 years. And Duane really was very public about his passion for me and his love for me. And I was a little bit more private about a lot of things. But I know that Duane would love nothing more than for me to share our love story because he really enjoyed when I would tell the story or telling the story to other people. So that's what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to share Duane and Julia's love story from the beginning. You guys got a drink, it'll be a minute. So, no, not really. But Isaac and I biked past Duane's house for like 4 years on our way to Lincoln School. Duane lived about 4.5 blocks away. We have a number of mutual friends, and it took the new age internet dating for us to meet, despite all of our common acquaintances and riding past his bike every day. We planned our actual meeting to be coincidental. We both had plans to be at a thing downtown, and so we thought we'd bump into each other, and that'd be a great way for each other to get together. But then he didn't show up. So I went to the bluff, and I sent him a text, and I said, hey, my phone is gonna die, here's where I am, put down your wrench and come down here now. And he did, and he said, how did you know I was working on my bikes? How did you know I had a wrench in my hand? I was like, well, because I know that you wrench on bikes, and you didn't show up, so I assumed that's what you were doing. So we sat in the buff. My social media dating profile was super public. There was no picture of me. It didn't have my last name for sure. Had nothing about my job because the last thing somebody who runs a nonprofit art center needs is for all the entire world to know that she's on the market, right? So he had no idea what I did for a living. So Duane, this beautiful man, sits down next to me. We're having a beer, and he says, we're just kind of like backup story. He's like, I got into printing. I work for a printing company and got into printing because when I was in high school, I was in this art show, and it was an amazing experience. I had this really amazing art teacher, and she really inspired me to create this piece, and he told me all about how he executed this piece, and then he put this work of art into this school art show, and it traveled to the national the national exhibition that was in Washington, D.C., and have I ever heard of the Krasl Art Center? Because that's who hosted the art show. And he just kept going on, and so meanwhile, I'm like, this guy is playing me. Who did he find out who I was from? I mean, we talked for like a day, right? Like somebody told him, and that he was laying it on thick, And so I was like, this guy's too big to be true, too good to be true, and he's totally playing me, and he's very sweet and charming, and so sure, we can get together again the next day, despite my real hesitation about that, what clearly had to be BS playing me little thing. So and eventually he did, he's like, why are you looking at me like that? I said, well, do you know where I work? No. Well, I work at the Krasl Art Center. Oh! He acted like he had no idea. I think it was true. He had no idea. He just saw a common interest and he ran with it. So the very next day we got together again and we were biking home and Duane leaned over and he gave me the wrench. And so I realized, like, what guy who's playing a girl is gonna have a wrench be the first gift that he ever gives her. So then my hesitancy about him evaporated pretty quickly. When Duane and I got married, Isaac was 12, and there was not one single moment that Duane did anything but refer to Isaac as our son. Whether it was household chores or forgetting to walk the dog or homework that needed to be done. Isaac was our son for Duane. And that always warms my heart and will continue to warm my heart that he took his parenting of Isaac seriously, but also it was a joy for him to have Isaac in his life. There were always anything that is a "we got this" Duane branded thing. There are 3 blue hearts. There's one for Duane, there's one for me, and there's one for Isaac. So we were deeply loved by Duane for the last 4.5 years, and we were able to make for the last 2.5 years a lot of really amazing memories and have a lot of phenomenal experiences. And those gifts to our family are because of the generosity and the love and the sharing that all of you gave and made possible for us. So I hope that we lived a lifetime in our 4.5 years together. But we certainly benefited greatly from having Duane's love in our lives. Thank you all for your support of that.